He's earned his chance to fight for that belt. Now imagine that Khamzat is here in the United States preparing for that fight with Imavov. That would be my guess if I am thinking about what's next. But the reality is, one, how difficult is it going to be for him to get back down to 185? Because I'm telling you, he looks massive next to Roundtree. Two, how will he compete when he's back down there? And three, how does Imavov deal with the size of Khamzat Chimaev at this point? Because while Imavov was a 185 pounder, Khamzat was at 170. Chimaev looks like the bigger guy. He looks like the much bigger fighter. Now, I'm telling you, you guys have to watch that training footage. He looks like a monster at over 200 pounds. Khamzat Chimaev also has the Chael Strickland issue to deal with at 185. These guys cannot stand each other. Look, guys, when you are two athletes of the highest caliber and you have trained together and you have fought in sparring, one of those guys knows, or someone knows exactly what happened. But as most say, what happens in the gym stays in the gym.
We've seen Khamzat Chimaev fight at welterweight. We see him fight at middleweight. Is he someone that if he says, hey, I want to fight at light heavyweight, we'd see him fight at light?
I'd like to see him defend his title at a weight first. Yeah, I'd like to see him defend his title before he talks about jumping around from, you know, you're going to keep going up in weight divisions without defending. Yeah. I'd rather.
All right, so Chael Strickland has been making all this noise about wanting this fight, and now look what's happening. Khamzat Chimaev is doing exactly what you'd expect from him. No talking, no social media games, just straight back to the gym, putting in that brutal work. The training clips that keep dropping show him grinding like this fight is already signed and sealed.
I mean, he works his ass off. The guy can fight. He's a world champion, you know, but just because you can fight and just because, like, it doesn't really mean, like, doesn't make you like a man, you know? And there's these moments when, like, you see kind of like past, hey, I could fight. He works his ass off, like Costa. It just, I don't know.
What's really telling is how quiet his camp has been. While everyone else is running their mouths, Khamzat just disappeared into training mode. He's preparing like this isn't some maybe situation, like this massive showdown is definitely going down. That silent confidence hits different when you know what kind of damage this guy can do.
He's been saying some stuff in interviews about, he just didn't like your approach. Just why do you think he's saying that, and do you have a response?
I don't know, when I was there they never said anything, you know. When I leave the Vegas and when they stop my visa, he start to talk. When I come back, I'm in LA, bro. Come on. If it's something personal for you, just come. I'm here.
But here's the twist. Khamzat finally broke his silence, and when he did, it was straight to the point. He told Strickland to sit tight and wait for these visa problems to get sorted out. Once that bureaucratic mess gets handled, then they'll handle business the right way. Inside that cage where all the real conversations happen. That's not just a response, that's a straight up warning wrapped in patience.
Khamzat Chimaev must fight Chael Strickland next. Guys, there's no debate. And I had 24 hours to think about this. Because here's what I don't want to do. I got to tell you, as an authority figure in this sport, I don't want to pan Imanov. I don't want to do that. I respect him. I respect what he's done. I respect his patience. But Chael Strickland fought him in head-to-head competition. Now, a couple of things came out. I am behind the scenes, and I can tell you, guys tiptoe around Chimaev. Guys are scared of Chimaev. He has a presence. Sean Strickland said, man, I used to be in the gym with this guy. He's a punk. Ask the people that were there. Sean Strickland said, when I come into a gym, I go find the biggest, baddest dude, and that's who I spar with. When Chimaev comes in the gym, he finds the easiest opponent, takes him in the corner, and beats the hell out of him.
Now listen to this. Chael Sonnen, who never misses when it comes to breaking down fights, came out and said there's zero debate here. Khamzat's next fight has to be Sean Strickland, period. Chael spent an entire day thinking through every angle, making sure he wasn't playing favorites or missing something obvious. He even talked about how other fighters act different when Khamzat's around. That presence is real and it changes the whole room. But then Chael dropped something spicy about their gym sessions. According to Sean, he was always the one pushing hard in training while Khamzat would coast through easy rounds. That little detail just threw gasoline on this whole rivalry.
You're disrespecting everything that Fluffy Hernandez did. Fluffy Hernandez beat 9 men in a row. If Fluffy Hernandez beat Sean Strickland, that would be 10 in a row. 10 is the biggest number in the history of the UFC that anybody's had to do to get a title shot, and that distinction belongs to Merab. But to remind you, Merab was offered a title fight after 7. So the point that I'm making, if Fluffy Hernandez would have won and he would have gotten a title, we're being very disrespectful to the 9 men that Fluffy beat. We're being very disrespectful to the opportunity that Fluffy should have had. And when you play this game, it's the ultimate poker hand. You're all in. Whatever you got is on the line. You got a belt, it's on the line. It doesn't matter if you're undefeated and this guy's lost 5 fights. It doesn't matter if you're ranked number 1 and he's ranked number 8. When you get in there, it's all on the line, winner take all. Sean Strickland took it. Sean Strickland.
And Chael kept going with the bigger picture here. When you skip over someone who actually earned their shot, you're not just disrespecting them. You're basically saying every fighter they had to beat to get there doesn't matter either. He used the perfect example about how insane it is to build long winning streaks in the UFC. When someone steps up in a main event and gets the job done, that victory means everything. That's exactly what Sean did, and that's why Chael believes he's earned the right to face Khamzat next.
Just a second now, I do want to say, I was with Khamzat last week on the Jackson podcast, and Khamzat Chimaev told me that he is 240 pounds, right? What do you weigh right now, Khamzat? What do you weigh? Come on.
You can keep it a secret if you want.
I don't know.
That is gigantic. That is a good weight for a heavyweight, let alone a middleweight that fights at 185 pounds, 84 kilos. That would be a 55-pound weight cut that he has to go through. And by the way, he didn't look fat. He looked to be in really good shape, and he's down there in Newport Beach, California, training, running on the beach every single day. The man is working out hard, but there's no talks of a title fight. In fact, I asked him, who will you be fighting? And he said, brother, I don't know. I will see.
Michael Bisping jumped on board with this matchup too, and he dropped a bomb when he revealed he'd talked to Khamzat recently. Get this, Chimaev is walking around at 240 pounds right now. For someone who fights at 185, that's absolutely massive. Bisping knows exactly how brutal that kind of weight cut is from his own experience. But here's the thing, Khamzat isn't sitting around getting soft. He's training his tail off in California. The problem is there's no official title fight set up for him yet. Because of that situation, Bisping thinks Khamzat should focus on defending what he's already got instead of chasing fights in other divisions.
So there certainly is some words, and Sean Strickland has beaten him before, beaten via decision. The reality is, who deserves it more? I don't know. Sean's only on a 1-fight win streak, but he is a former champion. Imavov hasn't done that, right? The reality is, Chimaev has got to fight one of them. I know he's talking about going up to 205, or he's thinking about going up to 205, and making 185 from 240 pounds will be very hard, okay? But I would love to see him in there with Strickland, certainly when he says that he choked him out multiple times, and his lightweight training partner choked him out a bunch of times. And then you've got Strickland calling him a Chechen and all this type of stuff, right? Talking a lot of shit, talking a lot of smack, not afraid to poke the bear, shall we say, right? That fight's got to happen. I want to see it. You want to see it. The whole world would love to see it, right? So I think he's got to stay at 100.
Then Bisping got into the whole picture with Sean and other contenders like Nasruddin Imavov. Yeah, Imavov is dangerous and skilled, but here's what matters. Sean already beat him, so Bisping asked the obvious question, who deserves it more? Sean's on a tear right now, plus he's a former champion with all that experience. Bottom line, Khamzat needs to fight one of the elite middleweights, and the Sean fight is what everyone wants to see because of all this real bad blood between them.
Is he the contender, do you think, next for the title in your mind that could potentially have the most challenge to Khamzat out of the possible contenders right now?
Oh, it's hard to say. Like, I definitely think he has an argument now, especially because he's beaten Imavov and because of the way he put away Fluffy. But honestly, it's anybody's guess. You know, it's anybody's guess. The title fights and like contenders and that whole conversation is just so, random.
When they asked Robert Whittaker if Sean should be Khamzat's next opponent, he didn't brush it off at all. The Reaper said Sean has a legitimate case, especially after how he destroyed Imavov and then completely finished his last opponent. That's the kind of work that puts you in title conversations. But Whittaker also kept it real about how unpredictable the title picture can be. Sometimes it doesn't go to who deserves it most. Still, based on what Sean's done lately, he's definitely earned his spot in the mix.
I mean, I know you've been in there with Khamzat, man, and Sean Strickland's taking defense is pretty good, but we haven't seen him in there against, like, would you say Fluffy and Khamzat, it's two different levels when it comes to the grappling, would you say, like, in terms of the way, the strength, and yeah.
Absolute night and day. Like, having been in there with Chimaev and seen, and everyone who saw what he did to Dricus, like, it's not the same. It is not the same.
But when the talk shifted from politics to the actual fight itself, Whittaker got serious about the reality check. He admitted Sean's takedown defense is solid, but grappling with Khamzat is a completely different animal. Whittaker knows this from personal experience since he's been in there with Khamzat before. He understands exactly what that pressure feels like, what it does to you. He made it crystal clear that Khamzat's grappling intensity is unlike anything Sean has dealt with in his career.
Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland should be the next middleweight title shot in the division, and I'm going to tell you why in today's video. My name is James Lynch. So Sean Strickland getting a huge win last weekend at UFC Houston in the main event, taking out Anthony Fluffy Hernandez by knockout. It was a picture-perfect performance here from Strickland, getting the third round finish, stopping Hernandez and his 8-fight win streak, and solidified himself as a contender in the weight class. And right now, at the time we're talking, there is not a fight booked yet for Khamzat Chimaev. There's been a couple rumors out there, but you heard Strickland after his fight with Fluffy Hernandez. We'll play a little snippet of it here. He talks about what he wants next when Michael Bisping asks him, and Strickland doesn't hesitate, talks about Chimaev. We're going to watch that clip here real quick.
Next, Sean. I don't know, man. Chimaev probably gets off the bench, dude. I like a piece of that little Chechen, but you never know with him, bro.
Yeah, so you can see there, he wants this fight. And then to go even further, Strickland at his media scrum before, of course, he was cut off, which I'm not a fan of, talks about how he made Chimaev quit in training. Now, I'm not usually a fan of fighters revealing things in the gym. I think that's bad practice, but this is only going to build.
James Lynch has been pushing for this fight from day one. He pointed to Sean's knockout of Anthony Hernandez as the moment that changed everything. That main event victory put Sean right back at the top where he belongs. Plus, and this is key, Khamzat doesn't have any fights booked right now. Sean came out of that big win and immediately called out the champion, who has no clear next opponent. The timing couldn't be more perfect. Lynch also talked about the possibility of Khamzat moving up to light heavyweight. His argument was simple but strong. You just won the middleweight title, you haven't defended it yet, so defend it first before thinking about other weight classes. He questioned why Khamzat shouldn't be held to the same standard as other champions who get criticized for being inactive. Keep him busy at 185 pounds where he belongs right now. Brendan Schaub took it even further, saying the UFC needs to book this fight immediately. He completely dismissed giving Imavov a title shot since Sean already beat him, and more importantly, Sean is the bigger star. The UFC runs on stars, especially American stars, and this fight is ready to go right now. Schaub believes Sean would take the fight tomorrow since he came out of his last one basically untouched. If Sean beats Khamzat, the UFC suddenly has a massive American star on their hands. That's the business angle they can't ignore. Schaub broke down why Sean specifically chose Khamzat as his target. Sean just proved he's still one of the best in the world, a legitimate top contender who draws attention whether people love him or hate him. Khamzat is the perfect high-profile opponent to capitalize on all this momentum. Everything comes down to timing and momentum right here. Sean just reminded everyone exactly who he is. He shut up the doubters, looked sharper than ever, and took almost no damage doing it. Meanwhile, Khamzat is sitting there as champion with no clear next opponent lined up. The story is already written, the tension is absolutely real, and the stylistic matchup promises fireworks. Sean's relentless pressure and sharp boxing against Khamzat's wrestling and raw power creates a legitimate test for both guys. From every angle, competitive and business, this fight makes complete sense right now. If you wait, the heat dies down. If you book it next, it feels like a massive event. In this sport, when something feels big and makes logical sense, you don't overthink it. You make the fight and let these warriors settle it in the cage. Both guys are in their prime, both think they're the best in the world. No need to complicate this with extra matchups or delays. Fans want clarity in the division, and this fight delivers exactly that. It answers the real questions. Can Sean stop Khamzat's takedowns? Can Khamzat handle Sean's pace for 5 full rounds? That's why this one matters so much.